Good morning and welcome to this event towards the Sustainable Vehicle Era. I'm Carla Fabiana Chiesserini and member of the board of CARS. As you know, CARS is the Center for Automotive Research and Sustainable Mobility. And today we are going to celebrate an important achievement by CARS, that is the presentation of the test facility that we are opening to everyone, that is all the companies and entities that may be interested in using our facility. So without further ado, let me introduce our rector, Professor Guido Saracco, who will speak and give his greetings and welcome. Thank you, Guido.
Welcome everybody to the Politecnico di Torino. Most of you know us, maybe also from a long time ago. And we were born as the first technical university in Italy, and we are deeply entangled with the car industry. The Fiat Group was born in 1899. It was always a sort of ally to us. My own rectorate was built by the Agnelli family as the last bit of the engineering site where we are now, of the Politecnico di Torino. This big Aula Magna brings the name of Giovanni Agnelli. By the way, we are celebrating today one of the most important achievements in the new strategy that universities, in my opinion, should follow for the future as booster of economic development. Actually, as a public entity, we could be a vehicle for public funds in order to boost the economy, to boost the industrial development. And this is today what we are introducing today is the consequence of an investment that was started 5-6 years ago with the previous rector, Marco Gilli, but now is finally in place. But in the time being, we have received attention from the Ministry of Economic Development, from the region, Piemonte, and now from the PNRR action, the Next Generation EU version, Italian version. And we are building a sustainable vehicle development area in Mirafiori, in front of the site where we have been for 10 long years alone in the desert, but now it's going to become a sort of nuclei for crystal growth around the sustainable mobility and the digitalization of industry. And on top of that, the Regione Piemonte has invested about 15 million euros in this specific topic. But I'm pleased to tell you that some 70 million euros are coming to Politecnico di Torino to co-fund research infrastructures, innovation infrastructures. And the most important one is going to be built in the area of Trino Vercellese, where a former Italian attempt to set up nuclear power was aborted some time ago, but now a new area to test vehicles is going to rise. These are public-private initiatives, and this is completely new for a university, and it is in line with what I told you. We have to cooperate to save money and to multiply effects, because none of us is nowadays capable of doing everything on its own. We cannot teach engineers in a proper way without the help of industry people. Industry people cannot do research on their own and need the help of our researchers, our PhD students, and I'm pleased to say that I'm recording an increasing interest of industry in financially supporting also basic research in the area of sustainable mobility. That I was talking with some of you before the start of this event, is going to provide a huge amount of opportunities. I was a few days ago in the ANFIA event. The ANFIA is the Association of Component Manufacturers, and they are not so worried because a company that is working in the area of sustainable mobility can spin off products in many other sectors of industry, of society. And for this, knowledge is needed, creative engineers are needed, and this is what we are trying to set up in Politecnico di Torino by letting them work together in groups of interdisciplinary nature, providing them with social and human sciences knowledge and experience to be better engineers, to solve problems of society, to exploit the interdisciplinary technologies that we are developing together with industry. So I hope that this is this first practical example is going to be just the first of a series in which the role of university in pushing the economic development is going to be our must. Thank you very much and enjoy this event.
Thank you, Guido. And I will now leave the floor to Matteo Marnati, Minister at the Piedmont Region for Environment, Energy, Innovation and Research.
Good morning and thank you very much. I'm very honored to participate in this event, which enhances two prestigious research infrastructures in Piedmont. Research infrastructures are essential to stimulate research innovation in our territory, but also to attract excellent talents and researchers to our Piedmont, which has always stood out for research and innovation. The scientific community, therefore, has another accessible platform available with resource, service, and equipment. And I am proud that the Politecnico of Torino has been able to excel in the InfraP call of the Piedmont region, which has supported and financed the construction of 10 open HS research infrastructures, through which the Politecnico has been able to excel in the perspective of openness and cooperation with the public and the private world. And today we are in the phase of launching the new regional program of European Funds 21-27 for research and innovation. And I'm sure that this university and CARS itself, we will be able to seize the important opportunities. The 21-27 regional program is part of an economic and social context marked by uncertain opportunity and aims to respond to the challenge indicated in the specific Union recommendation for Italy. In order to do that, the program offers 1 billion and almost 500 million euros. The resources, in order to satisfy the European direction, needs to be used to strengthen the Piemontese innovation cluster. How to do this? Through a forward-looking strategy involving different actions and measures and targeting important potential beneficiaries such as research infrastructures. Thank you very much for your work and thank you for to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. And now we will dive deeper into the CARS Center. Before doing that, let me just recall that the center was established in 2018, and the first coordinator of CARS was Professor Bellingardi. And we would like to take this opportunity to thank Professor Bellingardi for his efforts, for his vision, for having started the center. And today's coordinator is Professor Nicola Amati, who will tell us more about the CARS activities. Thank you, Nicola.
So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome. I'm very happy that all of you are here to participate to the inauguration of this test facility within CARS Center. Let me start with a short movie that will introduce the center and the facility, and then I will give you additional explanation of how is organized this interdepartmental center. Please.
EU and national programs are pushing towards low environmental impact and safer road vehicles. Electrified solutions and technologies for autonomous and connected transportation systems are aiming to satisfy the indications of the policymakers and the needs of the automotive industry. In this context, CARS, the Center for Automotive Research and Sustainable Mobility, has the aim of becoming a leading research center in transportation, electrification, and smart mobility in Europe. Three main research areas are addressed: green and automated vehicles, integrated and connected mobility, mobility and logistics. The challenge is to develop technologies and solutions capable of reducing the environmental footprint through electrified powertrains and chassis systems, improving the safety through automated and connected vehicles, advance the automated transportation systems, and the city logistics. To reach such ambitious results, the center is dedicated to the creation of an environment in which multiple skills can be integrated to carry out a multidisciplinary research open to innovation and technology transfer. And the installation of a new test facility within CARS labs allows to test vehicle and powertrain behaviors in different driving scenarios and road conditions. It is almost a unique test facility available in a university laboratory worldwide. The facility is conceived to test both complete vehicles, conventional, hybrid, full electric, and powertrains, or parts of it, to reach a wide range of customers: OEMs, Tier 1 distributors, legal entities. The cell allows to test cars and light commercial vehicles characterized by up to 3.5 tons of curb weight, a thermal power unit up to 375 kilowatts, electric power systems up to 250 kilowatts, and a max speed of 180 kilometers an hour. The facility is equipped with the following instrumentations: a battery emulator, 250 kilowatts, 800 volts, a fuel measurement device, less than 0.1%, a gaseous pollutant measurement system, AVL-AMA-SL, and a real-time connection device with real or virtual driving simulators, AVL Testbed Connect. Test campaigns are possible both in vehicle and powertrain configurations. In particular, the cell capabilities allow performance tests in real conditions. Efficiency and energy consumption can be derived for homologation and other relevant driving cycles. Furthermore, validation of control strategies for the energy management system and hardware-in-the-loop tests for real driving conditions can be performed. Furthermore, hardware-in-the-loop tests for autonomous and connected vehicles may be included to validate sensors, actuators, and control strategies. Our experience and expertise will be strengthened in the next years thanks to long-term partnership agreements signed with AVL, Deco companies, and Stellantis, as well as with the Tecnológico de Monterrey. New strategic partnership agreements with industrial and academic partners are under negotiation.
Okay. So, some additional explanation after this movie. Remember that CARS stands for Center for Automotive Research and Sustainable Mobility. CARS is one of the 13 interdepartmental centers that were established in 2017 and 2018. It was a strong action from Politecnico di Torino. The conviction was that multidisciplinary approach should be followed in order to face the next frontier of the research. And how to implement this new approach in the field of automotive engineering? We believe that this new approach can be deployed by the inclusion of partner research teams in our research groups to carry out together development plans in which research phases are carried out and led also by professors of Politecnico. Follow a multidisciplinary approach in order to achieve results with a high technology readiness and have the ability to perform experiments also at system level. Therefore, our mission is to establish here in Politecnico di Torino an international reference center in automotive engineering and advanced transportation system, leading research programs for the next generation of road vehicles. Today we contribute in three main research areas: green and automated road vehicles, integrated and connected mobility, transportation systems and logistics. How? With a team which is composed by 30 professors and 25 PhD students and postdoc research fellows, having their expertise in the field of mechatronics, vehicle dynamics, energy system, electronics, control, telecommunication, intelligent transportation system, and logistics. In strict cooperation with many of the other interdepartmental centers that I mentioned, that I have shown to you before. The testing facility. Starting from now, we will contribute also with the testing facility, helping to shift from the field tests to laboratory tests. This to be as much as possible competitive for Politecnico, but also for our industrial partners. We should remember that today, the time to market of a passenger cars from the concept to the production is of 4 years. So we need to be effective in order to fulfill this time frame. To this end, we believed that the most adequate infrastructure is a chassis dyno. This chassis dyno is based on 4 independent dynos that are able to replicate low friction ground conditions independently at each wheel, so to have the highest level of flexibility. The test bed has been conceived to be used in vehicle configuration in order to run tests on complete vehicles replicating real driving conditions, to perform tests to compute efficiency and emissions referred to homologation driving cycles, calibrate powertrain controls, and perform hardware in the loop of autonomous and connected vehicles. But the test facility is conceived to test also naked powertrains. The 4 typologies of tests that I mentioned before can be replicated also for powertrain assemblies, not only for vehicles. And in order to maintain the highest level of flexibility, we completed the installation with electric machine, a so-called prime mover, that is able to replicate an internal combustion engine in terms of stationary torque and higher order harmonic torques. The test infrastructure is equipped with a wide set of instrumentation, a battery emulator, a pollutant measurement system, a fuel measurement device, and a real-time connection system that allows to connect the facility with virtual or real driving simulators. This is to widen as much as possible the typology of the tests and to meet as much as possible the needs of our partners and of our customers. Next step. As a next step, thanks to the foundings coming from the PNRR initiative, we will integrate the facility with a new platform that is equipped with a system stimulating the sensors conceived for ADAS. With a device that is able to replicate the steering actuator, as in the test facility it's not possible to steer the wheels, and with a generator of virtual driving scenarios. This will allow to run intensive laboratory tests, having a chain in which all is real apart the scenario. And this we believe, is extremely powerful because we know that the experimental tests that are requested in order to validate the technology for autonomous driving are huge. The executive director of Bosch declared that to validate the technology for autonomous driving are requested 250 million kilometers, which means more or less 3,500 of vehicles that are involved in parallel for 1 year. I would conclude that is almost impossible. So the trend is to move as much as possible field tests in laboratory tests that are much more repeatable and that could be extensive. We can run also 24 hours per day. So to conclude, and I hope that then you will visit our laboratory in order to better understand what are all the features of this installation, I would conclude summarizing what are the typology of possible collaboration that are entering in, let me say, our new mindset of collaboration with the companies that are mainly based on long-term research partnership agreements, collaboration in funded research programs, dedicated research projects, and also in the use of the test facility as a service. We know that this test facility was co-founded by Regione Piemonte within the Infra call, just to give a service to the company of the territory, but not only. So I will not waste additional time, and I will arrive just to the conclusion, remembering, and what I want to remember to you, that the installation of such a test facility is unusual for a university. Today, what I can say is that we are ready to start. But to say that we are ready to start, I have to say that there was the conviction and a large effort from Politecnico di Torino, from Regione Piemonte, from our partner AVL, and for many people that dedicated a lot of time, a lot of effort, so that now we are ready to run tests and to do experimentation in collaboration with most of you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Nicola. So, as mentioned already, the CARS Center, as well as the other research centers at Politecnico di Torino, have been conceived and substantially supported through the years by the university. And today we are delighted to have a member of the Board of Governors of our university, Paola Vosso, who will tell us more in detail how the Politecnico Board decided to invest in CARS. Thank you, Paola.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On October the 18th, 2017, many years ago, 5 more or less, the agenda of Politecnico Board was very busy, as usual. We had to take very important decisions about investments. Strategic view below investments was to boost interdisciplinary groups by financing their infrastructure research tools in order they could leave comfort zone inside departments and explore innovation edge. It was afternoon, if I'm not wrong. I was new to the Politecnico Board, elected just 1 year before as independent member. Great part of my professional life has been spent as the Chief Financial Director, CFO, inside the industrial world, specifically consumer goods and real estate world. Worlds, the private ones, and you know, many of you know, where you have to agonize in order to get fresh money on projects. Both you have to open a new subsidiary or to build up a factory or replace a new machine. In the industrial private world, you have to explain the why, in how many years the payback will occur, plan in case it will not happen what you are planning, the value your idea will bring to the company, etc., etc. Usually, CFO's role inside the companies is to contain requests by his, her colleagues, but meantime, he has the duty to understand the business and look over. I often say, like a gardener, to understand which is the best soil where planting the few seeds in his, her own hands. So this was my background and my mindset when Professor Bellingardi began to introduce CARS project. The interdepartmental team was superb, no doubt. They declared the goals to achieve were, first, establish a reference center for automotive engineering and advanced transportation systems for companies and public institutions of Piemonte district, but not only. Second, reinforce the already existing cooperation with the public and private research entities. Third, invest in challenging research lines at a vehicle environment level with interdisciplinary research teams. Fourth, invest in new test facilities and instrumentations for vehicle system and vehicle environment level in validation. Achieving those 4 goals needed a good team, okay, that's it, soft facilities, and a hybrid powertrain and vehicle test bench for the energy control and management of hybrid and electric vehicles. The presentation went on. I was intrigued when the scientific contest was shown. No universities in the world at that time had the whole equipment for testing and controlling a car, Aachen Institute aside, which got a 4-axis bench. The request by a quiet, calm, and, may I say, a little shy Professor Bellingardi was to finance a 3-axis bench. The dream would have been a 5-axis one, maybe in 2 steps, but I began to place some questions. Which kind of additional opportunities a 5-axis bench would have provided to the research? What amount would have been financed by the supplier and eventually by the Piemonte region? A 5-axis bench would have really given to Politecnico di Torino, to the interdepartmental team, a competitive advantage? Professor Bellingardi was able to answer to all the questions. At that point, the CFO inside me, within me, understood that the balance between additional investment and additional output was worth of running the risk. So, turning my head to the president, the Rettore, and my colleagues, I asked, if we are ready to finance a 3-axis bench, why shouldn't we be ready to finance a 5-axis bench that would have been the only one in public sector and enable Politecnico to improve quality of research and benefits on the territory? If we wanted to be an excellence, we had to behave as an excellence. My colleagues agreed, and a surprise President Rettore, and a more, may I say, unbelieving Professor Bellingardi, so putting on record that the board had decided to finance CARS project proposal, including a 5-axis bench, for a total amount of 7.3 million euros. I have never asked Professor Bellingardi which were his feelings after this very strange session where he entered asking for a 3-bench axis and went out of the boardroom with a 5-axis bench accepted. Now it can be the good time. So, this is the story, how the project started. To be honest, I have to tell you that the following weeks, I had some nightmares, wondering if I had well done to convince my colleagues to put so much money, citizens' money, on the project. And this is was the reason why I followed, together with other members who helped a lot me, not just CARS, but the other 12 projects, interdisciplinary projects living inside Politecnico. I must say that during following months and years, the CARS team, mainly led by Professor Amati, dedicated tremendous commitment to project, build, and set up the new infrastructure. And this is the reason why I'm so glad of the success, the self-financing, and the future opportunity for CARS, and I hope the industrial district. Just a note before closing. I am not a technical expert, even if I got a master's engineering degree many, many years ago, just in this university. But maybe this is a good example how good questions, good answers, and a strategic view can help to make the difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Paola, and thank you for the courage you had to go down this path who led to the success of CARS. And now we'll have 3 brief speeches that will help us to better understand how we can leverage the research infrastructure of CARS in order to further strengthen the collaboration between our university, CARS in particular, and the business sector. So the first will be Giorgio Martini, Deputy Head of Unit Transport Sustainability at Energy, Transport and Climate Joint Research Center. Thank you, Giorgio.
Thank you. And first of all, thanks to the organizers for the invitation to this event, for the inauguration of this new testing center that we consider important for the reasons that I'm going to explain in a few moments. But before, just let me spend a few words about the role of the JRC and its mission. So the JRC, as you may know, is the scientific arm of the European Commission, and its mission is to support technically and scientifically the conception, development and implementation of the European policies in the different fields. As Sustainable Transport Unit, we of course work in the sustainable transport field, and we closely cooperate with the policy DGs that are responsible for the European policies in the transport field, so DG Grow, DG Climate, DG Move. And we, as a Sustainable Transport Unit, address different issues ranging from the environmental performance of the vehicles to the safety requirements of the vehicles. So why we consider that this new testing center is important? We all know that the current transport system is an unsustainable system. There is still a high contribution to air pollution, which causes about 400,000 premature deaths in Europe every year. Transport is responsible for about a quarter of total CO2 emissions, with the road transport accounting for about 70% of these emissions. Still a high number of fatalities. About 25,000 people are killed every year in Europe due to accidents, and many more are injured. And then road congestion, which we experience every day and costs about 1% of the European GDP. So, a lot of problems that the European Commission is trying to address with a number of policy initiatives. I've just listed here some of these initiatives: the European Green Deal, the Sustainable Smart Mobility Strategy, and the EU Road Safety Policy Framework. These policy initiatives set very ambitious objectives. For sustainable mobility, we have the objective of reducing CO2 emissions by 90% in 2050, and with the phasing out of the combustion engines in 2035. In the meantime, we'll have stricter emission limits. We expect the new emission standard to be presented in a few days. Smart mobility. There is the idea of improving the efficiency of the transport by promoting the multimodality. So we need to achieve safe and efficient connections between the different modal transport systems. Resilient mobility. We have all experienced the impact of the recent crisis, from the pandemic to the other international crises. And we need a transport system that is resilient against future crises like those the last couple of years. Then Vision Zero, having no fatalities by 2050. So very ambitious objectives that will require time to be achieved, but we have a lot of concrete issues that we have to address right now. When we talk about the environmental performance of the vehicles, we need, I've just said that we expect Euro 7 to be presented in a few days, and we'll have stricter limits. So we'll need new testing methodologies, new procedures to measure low levels of pollutants in a wide range of conditions, and also to measure new pollutants, because Euro 7 will contain, for the first time, limits for new pollutants like the particles generated by brake and tire wear. There is also the idea in Euro 7 to monitor the performance of the vehicles with onboard monitoring systems. So also here we'll have to develop the implementing rules, so the standards of the sensors, and how to collect and process the data that will be generated by these onboard monitoring systems. When we talk about electric vehicles, we have still to develop standards and methodologies, like, for example, to properly measure the range of the vehicles, the battery durability. How these vehicles will be recharged is also another important aspect, so standards for wireless and on-road charging methodologies. Alternative fuels that will have to be addressed not only in terms of what comes out from the tailpipe of the vehicle, but also in terms of overall CO2 balance. So we are going towards a life cycle analysis approach to compare the different vehicle concepts and different fuels. Coming to connected and automated vehicles, it's clear that we cannot, the main problem here is how to ensure that the autonomous vehicles placed on the market are safe. Obviously, we cannot test these vehicles in all the possible conditions that will be encountered during their life. So we need a new approach, new methodologies, for example, new simulation tools for the type approval of these vehicles, but very likely we need also an in-service monitoring system which will monitor the performance of this vehicle in order to identify at an early stage a risky situation that will require corrective measures. And then, for example, we have to define safety and functional requirements for human-machine interface, for artificial intelligence-based systems, and also for vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-infrastructure communication. So we have a lot of work in front of us. And one aspect which is important is that we need still a huge effort, research effort, but we need also to develop, to have new approaches in terms of research, because we cannot afford anymore to look at the problem from a single perspective. We need, as already mentioned by Professor Amati, new approaches, holistics and multidisciplinary approaches. And very often this this new approach requires multiple competencies that are not always available in a single institution. While, for example, instead for the university, there is already an advantage because the universities are multidisciplinary by their nature. So we believe that also because the resources are not that much, we are living in a period of scarcity of resources, so networking and collaborating among research institutions is essential. This is the reason why we believe that this new testing center is important. We welcome and fully support this new initiative, and we are looking forward to collaborating with the CARS Center in order to address all the problems that I've listed before. And that's all from my side, and thank you again for the invitation.
Thank you very much, Giorgio. And let me now introduce Alessandro Coda, Head of Tech Scouting and University Partnerships at Stellantis, and witness of a long-standing collaboration between Stellantis and our university. As you wish. Thank you.
So, good morning to everybody, and I'm really glad and happy to see so many people that are passionate about automotive, especially young people. So welcome today. I will give a short speech without slides, quite incredible in this environment, but I have also something to say to you. I will go a little back to the past to have a look at the present and to have, let's say, forward-looking at the future. So, what is the past? I remember, and President Sarako already remember a date that is important for us, 1999. This is the first century of Fiat. Fiat was born here in Torino. And so we were very proud of that. And in all the initiatives that were set at that time, one was really focused also on Polytechnic of Torino. You know, we are really close by. We want to work in the Turin environment, the Piedmont environment. It's so important to have this local environment growing together. And then we were approached by Professor Bellingardi. I think his name has been already recalled today a lot of times. What he said is, why are we not going to do something more at the system level in the automotive? And this is what was really missing. We have many disciplinary activity here also in Politecnico, but something like automotive engineering was missing at the time. And I would say it's almost unique in the Italian environment as also at the European environment. So with that talks, I remember him coming many times in my office in Mirafiori, and then we set up the seed of what was then the automotive engineering faculty. And we supported that activity, started in year 2000. And we have already today 4 agreements together. First it was Fiat, Centro Ricerche Fiat, then the name changed in FCA, Fiat Chrysler Automobile. Now we are in Stellantis. We just merged some months ago, successfully, I would say, with the PSA group. But the people are always the same, location is the same, and that is where we are very happy. So long history about collaboration that was based on 3 main factors, 3 main pillars. Research, I think this is the name also of the future. Education, talent growing is so important for everybody. Every company needs the best people coming out from university. And then internationalization. So it was the time where we were looking at outside our region, our Italy, our Europe, and looking also forward. So where do we stand today? Today we have Stellantis. We are on the way to sign the 4th agreement. I think this is also a good point. We both, Politecnico and Stellantis, recognize the good success of this collaboration in terms of result of the project, in terms of people, in terms of lab, in terms of activity that we do together. And this will continue. So this is a good sign. Today, Stellantis will announce the result of the 3rd quarter. We already announced very good result for the 1st semester. It was quite exceptional result, and today, well, anticipation is that the results are also very good, and we are very happy about that. So, and we can look forward in an even positive way as today. And what is the forward, the next step? We have a plan. You know, all the industry have also plans for the future. And our plan is therefore the 2030. So it's a perspective 8 years from now, 9 years from now, how the the world would look like in terms of automotive industry. And I would like to take two words that are already in the cars environment. Mobility. So it's not only the vehicle as it was in the past, but it's the vehicle included in an environment. And this is what makes people moving. That is one of the rights of the humans. And I think we all want to continue to move. Maybe mobility patterns are going to change, vehicles are going to change, but the need for mobility will stay there. And then we have to look at the planet, our world. And so we need to do in a sustainable way, so sustainability, looking at how we use all the resources of the planet. You know, we will have in the next few years a big initiative on circular economy here in Mirafiori. That is important because we need to reuse, reinvent the materials, recycle them. I think there is a full activity that is so important for us to avoid to destroy the planet. So this is what we have in our plans. And with Politecnico, we are also looking to have even closer links and boundaries than today. Rector has already mentioned the area of Mirafiori. This is an area where we also want to invest, and this is the heritage of Torino, of Fiat, of Stellantis now. And it's a bit too early to announce plans, but I can assure you in a few weeks you will hear more what we are going to build there. So thank you very much for having invited us to be here, and I give you back the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandro. And another relevant collaboration between our university cars in particular is with AVL. And today we have Franz Leitner, Director of Powertrain Engineering, AVL Italy. Thank you.
Good morning, and thanks a lot for being part of this inauguration today. As already introduced, I'm Franz Leitner. I'm coming from Austria. I'm living since January this year in Italy in the role as responsible for the powertrain engineering of the company. Clean, affordable mobility. I think these are very, very strong words, especially if we connect them, or if we connect clean with clean in the complete life cycle of the product, not just the operation emissions, if we consider the clean or the green in the complete life cycle. Affordable, also if we consider that it's affordable to the wide mass of the people, not just in Europe, maybe some when around the world, even in the emerging countries. There are a lot of ways right now. If we can say mainstreams are right now, of course, the electrification with hybridization up to the battery electric vehicle. There is hydrogen as a big player in the future, as well as synthetic fuels. But if we consider them with these words, clean and affordable, none of these technologies right now in the place to serve globally in a wide scale, and also will not be in this position in the next years. So I think it's gonna be required to develop and to do R&D work for decades to reach the targets, to really provide to every consumer a clean and affordable mobility solution. Whatever it is at the end, this is open, and we are happy that it is open, because the only or the majority of the work to reach this target needs to be done by engineers and scientists from car manufacturers, suppliers, universities, and in this circle, all these ideas and developments need to come together to really have, let's say, a joint force to reach these targets. And this will not be easy if we consider, as I have already said, the complete life cycle of the mobility. So what is AVL? And actually we are very happy that we were promoted, or we selected for this tender several years ago to build the facility here in the Politecnico Torino with such a leading edge facility and environment. So I want to introduce you very briefly what is AVL. AVL is a privately owned engineering company. Our basic values are, of course, we have a very high degree of pioneering spirit. We always look at least 10 years ahead. We have a very high degree of customer orientation. Our main asset is the problem-solving competency, responsibility, and the very big asset is also that we are, even though we are in the meanwhile a very big company, we are still independent. We are owned by the family list in the second generation now. A few numbers. So the company has around 11,000 employees worldwide. The turnover 2021 after the COVID shock was around 1.6 billion euro. We invest about 12% of our turnover into in-house R&D, of course, in cooperation with universities. We have right now 2,500 granted patents in force, a ratio about 70% of engineers and scientists, and we were founded in 1948. So we are a global company represented in 26 countries in over 93 locations. But very important is what we're doing in Italy. So we have more than 360 employees in Italy. We do an annual local turnover of 160 million euros, and we have a ratio of more than 90% of engineers. We have 2 locations, one in the Motor Valley in Cavriago, and the head office is in Turin, very close to here. Of course, we do the complete portfolio of engineering for OEMs, tier 1s, and whatever is required. On the products, so we have a very strong focus on electrification, of course. We do the full portfolio of ADAS and autonomous driving development. Zero impact emission is not just a word for us, so we do development in all directions, also still with internal combustion engines. We do vehicle engineering, and of course, due to the connectivity, we have a lot of efforts in data intelligence. So at the end, our research and our development is purely or mainly focused on the automotive industry, and also one target of the company is to have more local growth. So the volume in Italy is very high, and we further invest into local growth of Italy. So we're gonna hire and build up more teams with regard to new technology. And of course, here the universities are playing also a major role. And the earlier we work together with the universities on applied research projects or even in customer projects, the better and the faster we can integrate the university workers or the university engineers later in the company or in a cooperation model. So we are not just cooperating with one university, so we started, or the founder of the company, Professor Hans List, started in 1914, so before World War I, with the first cooperation in Shanghai with the Tongji University. And over the years, after the globalization of the automotive industry, AVL more and more found the success and found the positive impacts in working with research institutes and universities. And this year, when in conjunction with the powertrain dyno, which is now in force, also a cooperation with the University Politecnico Torino will be done for the next years. So first of all, to just briefly introduce you what we're gonna plan, or what the target and the ingredients of this cooperation is. It's actually 2 basic points. Of course, there is a powertrain development facility where we're gonna execute joint research programs with focus on the green mobility, of course. but also electrification on system and component level in customer projects, in research projects, and even in funded projects. And of course, one major part will also be development activities on the automotive driving technology. We all do this together with the Polytechnico engineers. We're going to do this also with lectures, but the main target is here to really work as a team together with the engineers and the students of the Polytechnico as much as possible in the applied projects of the customers. And the second one is also AVL is entering into a cooperation with the Polytechnico. So beside the powertrain research activities, we also have a contract, or we are about to sign this year in a few weeks, a contract to share and exchange technological know-how, to do joint participation in regional, national, and European research programs. We do partnership for specific research projects funded by our company. Beside the powertrain dyno activities, of course, we get from the university technical and scientific consultancy services. Of course, we do promotion of activities, and we also as AVL would like to support the research and innovation initiatives of the Politecnico in Torino. So all in all, we see here a good seed, or a very positive seed for the next year. On one hand for AVL, to further strengthen the local footprint, to let the local team of AVL further grow, but also to do our part on the reaching the target of the green mobility, which, as I said, will still last a long time until it is reached. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Franz. And we now have the Vice Rector for Research, Politecnico Torino, Professor Matteo Sonza Riorda, who will illustrate the opportunities that the National Recovery and Resilience Plan offers to companies in the mobility sector. Thank you, Matteo.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you for being here and welcome to Politecnico. Well, in my presentation, I will try to browse a little bit on some of the different opportunities offered by the PNRR, at least for the part where Politecnico is most involved. Well, first of all, just a few disclaimers. The first one is that PNRR is really a typhoon shaking many institutions, especially public institutions, because it is going to provide a huge amount of resources with a very and quite innovative set of schemes with rules that clearly need to be defined under definition. However, this is a very big opportunity because it offers a huge amount of resources with mechanisms which are, I think, of great interest for all of us, not only university. Well, here I will speak basically about a small fraction of PNRR. You know, it is organized in 6 missions. Here I will speak about a few actions belonging to Action 4. Action 4 is the one devoted to instruction and research, and clearly we are focusing here mainly on research. I will speak about basically 3 actions plus an appendix about which I will speak at the end. First of all, here we are speaking about actions where Politecnico is a main actor related to mobility and connected to our local environment, although some of them are, let's say, intended to play a role at the national level. These actions, at a first glance, may seem overlapped. One key point in the PNRR global organization is to distinguish, speaking about research initiatives, the technology readiness level of each initiative. So some of these initiatives are strongly connected one with each other, complementing them because some of them do work at a low TRL and others at a higher TRL. This is the index of this short presentation. Let's speak first of all about the Centro Nazionale Mobilità. The ministry funded 5 national centers with significant resources. Each of them is going to receive about 400 million euros over the 3 years of the project duration. The topics were defined by the ministry, which launched last year a call for proposals. And PoliTo is strongly involved in one of these centers, which is the National Center for Sustainable Mobility. This center just started, September the 1st, its activities. And inside this center, the organization is the classical one which is used by most of these initiatives. There is a hub, which is a national foundation created ad hoc for this initiative, led by the leader of this action, which in this case is the Politecnico di Milano. And then the technical activities are performed by the so-called spokes, each led by a specific institution. Politecnico di Torino leads 2 of the spokes of this center with significant resources devoted to them. Remember that here the resources are for a TRL which is relatively low, so these national centers are intended to support basic research, although the participation, the involvement of companies is crucial, and these activities should be focused on technology transfer and applicability of these ideas. A second point which I'd like to emphasize is that PNRR, when speaking about research, puts a lot of emphasis on the creation of new figures, of new persons with skills in the area, working across university research centers and industries. So in the last statement, you see the figures which are expected to be involved by these actions in terms of new people hired, new researchers hired in order to support these activities. In particular, Politecnico di Torino leads Spoke 2 inside this initiative, which is dedicated to sustainable road vehicles. So this is a relatively, let's say, a broad topic, which is organized in the subtopics that you can see listed there. Obviously, the final goal of the center is to show that some basic research activities performed by the research centers can lead to immediate advantages and, let's say, products that can be used by the companies. For this reason, one of the key points in this activity, in this initiative, is the creation of a prototype of a vehicle having the characteristics of being electric, connected, sustainable. Okay, and this will be done by combining all the expertise, the skills developed by the different spokes. Inside the activities of every spoke, besides supporting and funding the basic research in the research centers or in the companies participating in the initiative, there is a share of resources devoted to the so-called cascade calls. The cascade calls are devoted to complement the activities done by the partners. You remember there was a call, there has been a proposal submitted by some partners, and this proposal won the selection done by the ministry. But the intention of the ministry is to distribute these resources as much as possible on, let's say, among the interested and the useful entities. So starting from next spring, we plan to launch a set of cascade calls on selected topics, complementary and well integrated into the dose of each spoke, which will be devoted to companies or other research centers which are not participating in the project. Okay? Let's move to the second initiative. The second initiative is devoted to activities with a higher TRL, so to focus especially on technology transfer. So here the idea is not to develop new ideas and new researches, but to transfer the results of these existing researches to companies, to the territory. Okay? In this case, the ministry launched again a call last year, and this call was focusing on proposals on a territorial basis. So 11 proposals were selected, and each of these proposals was located in a specific, let's say, part of Italy. PoliTo Torino led one of these 11 proposals that were selected. This proposal is called Ecosystem, with a specific name which is Nodes, and let's say covers the territory of our region, plus the Aosta Valley, plus some border provinces of Lombardia. And the idea is to focus on digital and sustainable innovation, which is once again something similar to the previous action, but remember, once again, this is with a TRL much higher. The proposal in this case was set up by public bodies, and then the proposal is intended to, let's say, act in cooperation and involving private bodies. In particular, once again, here the organization is with one hub, the Politecnico, plus different spokes. And one of these spokes is Industry 4.0 for mobility and aerospace. And the focus of this spoke is on hydrogen generation, as well as storage, distribution, etc., and innovative infrastructure and services for electric mobility. You see the complementarity with respect to the previous action. Okay, this is details. We don't have time enough, but you will see all these details in the transparencies that will be available soon to all of you. Here, let's say the key idea, one of the key ideas is to support two flagship projects that you can see in the bottom of transparency. One is focused on hydrogen vehicles, the other is focused on electric vehicles. Once again, here the scheme plans for open calls for cascade calls with rather significant investments, 5.8 million euros, that are expected to appear in spring next year. The focus of this action, according to the call by the ministry, is especially on SMEs involved in these areas. Now the third point in the agenda. The third point concerns the infrastructures, because the plan of the ministry was also to support the creation or the widening of infrastructures. And these infrastructures should be created, managed, and let's say promoted in cooperation between the public bodies like Politecnico and the private bodies, creating companies, foundations, where the private bodies are the majority. And when speaking about these infrastructures, two of them have been selected among those proposed by the Politecnico. The first one is called Infrastruttura, and it aims at creating a proving ground for autonomous and connected vehicles, together with the smart infrastructure which is required for this kind of experiments. It is the one which is going to appear or to be created in the Trino area that the rector mentioned before. The second point is also important because it aims at improving the car's infrastructure, enlarging and updating or increasing its features, and it is the one that Professor Amati mentioned before. The second infrastructure, which is worth being mentioned, is called ISM for Italy. ISM stands for Infrastructure for Sustainable Mobility, and in this case, the idea is to insist on creating infrastructure able to support the development or the faster and easier development of components for the hydrogen vehicles. Okay? This is a crucial part where some ideas are there, but there is a lot of needs for improving the support, for developing new solutions, and for creating new businesses, because this is also a key point. These are general ideas. Let me make a brief appendix before closing, hoping to be still in time. All over the PNRR actions devoted to research, I mentioned before that there is an emphasis on creating new researchers, on supporting let's say, the training, the education of new researchers in the areas selected by these initiatives. This is done by hiring, especially by the public bodies like universities, researchers. These researchers are always intended to work in cooperation with companies, and the Politecnico is doing this activity in cooperation with the partners we traditionally have. There is another action which is specifically devoted to PhD students. PhD students, I think, can play a key role in strengthening the connection between university and companies, industries, and there are special actions by the ministry in order to promote and to economically support this cooperation even at the PhD level. Okay? So we just launched a call for new PhD grants that are going to start soon, and we hired about 100 PhD students, and these PhD students will benefit of a grant which is paid one half by the ministry, one half by a company, and obviously the topic for the activities of these PhD students has been identified in cooperation with specific companies. So behind every one of these 100 students, there is a company who put some money for defining together with us some research activity to be done by these PhD students over the 3 years of their PhD, and for developing these activities in cooperation with them. Obviously, let's say a discussion, an agreement is crucial beforehand, before starting these activities, to select the topic and to define the plan of activities for these people. Be careful, because this scheme will be repeated in the next 2 years, with at least the same resources. So we expect a similar number of PhD students to be available, to be, let's say, selected in the next 2 years in cooperation with companies. I think that, let's say, making this mechanism successful will be a crucial point for supporting and boosting the cooperation between research centers and university and industries, and Politecnico has a good experience in this direction, and we will be happy of discussing with all the companies, let's say, who are interested in this initiative. I was very fast, I know. but I'm available, we are available for entering in greater details and for providing all the further information to make these initiatives as successful as possible, not only for Politecnico, but for the whole community we are connected to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matteo. You were very fast, but unfortunately we are still late because we have the networking coffee and the first visit to the CARS facility will start at 11:15. So in order to let everyone be able to grab some coffee, I propose to defer and take the questions, further discussions offline during the coffee break, if it's okay with you. So let me thank all of you for attending this event, and let me thank all our speakers for their contributions, and we really look forward to collaborating with everyone interested in the CARS facility. Thank you very much.